Blog Talk Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin the show tonight, I'd like to dedicate episode number 3 of season 1 to a former co-worker and a friend that I had lost, Tina Thomas. So Tina, I'd like to dedicate this show to you, but knowing you, you're looking down on me right now saying, stop moping and get on with the show. The show must go on. So in saying that, start the show!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all ages, from Covington, Oklahoma, and South Monroe Street, school is now in session with Huron. And here is your teacher and host, Sean Stock.
This is You're On. This is Blog Talk Radio. This is Wednesday. This is 10 p.m. and class is hereby in session. I'm Sean Stopp.
I'm sorry, who?
Sean.
Sean?
Yes, Sean.
Sean's not here.
Oh. Anywho, you know, that joke never gets old. God bless Cheech and Chong. Welcome, class, to Trace Amigo of You're On. And on our program, class, we have a very special guest in our classroom. Live and direct from the hustling and bustling metropolis of Enid, Oklahoma, home of global communications, I have computer technician Jamie Phillips is going to be with us tonight. Well, speaking of computers, you good people can use that bad boy to throw me a what via email at youronbtr@ymail.com. Or if you'd like to listen to the show live like you're doing now, or on podcast at our website, which is www.wix.com/SeanStopp/You're On, and hear it any time. I'd like to hear your name mentioned on this show for a social networking shout-out. Feel free to do so. You can contact me at Twitter at /You're On with Sean. But no social networking shout-outs today. However, there are 2 Trace birthday shout-outs that I have. Now, if you know somebody that's having a birthday or you yourself is having one and you want to drop us a line and let us know to get your birthday shout-out, let us know. We have 2. For starters, happy belated birthday to Brooke Davis of Marshall, Oklahoma, who was celebrating hers yesterday. And then to a very special 3-year-old who's as cute as a button, coming to us all the way from Stillwell, Oklahoma, home of the Strawberry Festival. Emily and Grace Dollar, happy birthday to you both.
You say it's your birthday. It's my birthday too. Don't do that, okay? Hey, Jules.
Okay, class, put your social networking triple W notebooks in your desk for now. Let's focus on numbers right now. More importantly and mainly, this number to call You're On, which is 347-633-9630, 347-663-9630. Now, the big top story, the big news, very sad news, as many of you already probably know by now.
We're going hopping today, we're things are popping.
Yes, it's very sad. I'm very saddened to report that at 82 years of age, Dick Clark has passed. To me, he will always be American Bandstand. To me, he will always be the $20,000 pyramid. But more importantly, he will always be the man that ushered in the new year. Not Ryan Seacrest. He can't even polish his boots. Now, granted, call me old-fashioned, Willard Scott will always be the guy that did Macy's. Now, when Al Roker took his place, I like Al because I like the Today Show. But sorry to hear about Dick Clark's passing. Hopefully the radio morning shows tomorrow won't make fun of that, like they did Mike Wallace, doing the whole Chevy Chase, Mike Wallace is still dead. Hopefully they won't do the whole Dick Clark is still dead. That's just disrespectful, okay? But more importantly, let's get into some news for this past weekend. Please tell me you guys seen the Mavericks-Jazz game, because in the second quarter, we was almost at half, we was at 3:40 to go. Gordon Hayward of the Jazz decided he was going to throw a forearm shot to Deloitte West and then get him fouled. Well, what did he do in response? Gave him a wet willy. I kid you not. That's what he did. I got it on YouTube, posted on our Facebook, so go check it out. But 1 week ago, while I was interviewing Fuel on this show, I learned that my Thunder had lost at the buzzer, 98-100 to the Clippers. For yours truly, I was just as, if not more, bummed about this Tuesday's loss. And all I can say is this. I don't want to see a rematch against the Grizzlies for many reasons, because for one, I'll Emily Sutton, which is jargon for keep an eye on, Rudy Gay throughout the game because he's a brawler. Two, as much as my Okie pride and Thunder ego wants me to see them finish as number one in the West, which obviously that's not happening because it's the Spurs, because in the second round win, not if, but when they make it to that part, the LA Clippers will face my much-heated Grizzlies, and then the winner of that game, go Clippers, will face San Antonio. Now, let's just say by hell or high water, Memphis defeats LA. You know San Antonio is ready to serve them a beat down. Just beat down. And I would love to see that game. I would definitely watch that. My three favorite teams, obviously, are the Thunder at number one, taking the LA Lakers spot. My number two team is any team playing Milwaukee. And then number three, any team playing Memphis. Now, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see much love for the good Colonel of Milwaukee. But then it leads up to Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Los Angeles Lakers. And why do I like this, ladies and gentlemen? It's because they play the fundamentals of basketball the way it's supposed to be played. And that's what I enjoy about the game. They're not going to go out there and fight and foul. It's going to be, honestly, a good game. Now, let me get off my Thunder soapbox because right now, weather outside is currently 67, and overnight it's going to drop down 10 degrees to 57. Tomorrow is going to be high in the 80s with a slight chance of showers, then dropping down to 54. Class, thank you so much for listening live and listening to the podcast on our website at Wix and following on Twitter and liking on Facebook. More importantly, thank you, Blog Talk Radio, for having this broadcasted. Huron has quite a few listeners out there, and all you listening live right now, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And now, amigos and muchachos, it is time for my muy importante guest at this time, coming to us live and direct from Global Communications in Enid, Oklahoma. Jamie Phillips is in the house. Thank you very much. And now, Jamie, welcome to the show. It is time for my muy importante.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I was about to say, not a third show, Cursor. You did that on purpose. Good evening. Welcome to Huron. For those of you that aren't familiar with Global Communications in Enid, they're located at 1421 North Van Buren Street. There's two ways to contact them. 237-9900. That's 237-9900. Visit them on the web at www.globalcomtech.net. Actually, there's three ways they can contact. They just do the old-fashioned way of just coming through the door. Wouldn't you agree, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Real quickly, you're the computer technician at Global Communications. There's 7 different computer places you can take your broken down PC to have fixed. There's even a guy on 7th Street that takes a cardboard box and writes in crayon, computers fixed, and I think he spells it with a K, right across the street from KFC. In this economy, why would it be more financially sound to bring it to you as opposed to anybody else?
A couple of reasons, really. Computers are our main business, so we don't have to charge that overhead at $80 plus an hour to work on your computer. It's just whatever it is, it's a flat rate. For example, if you go to Staples, they normally run an hourly rate at $150 an hour, where if we have to do an intensive repair, it's $45. So, and most stuff like cleaning up the computer because it's slow or sluggish is around $15, $25, depending. And the highest we will ever go, if we actually have to do a complete install, is going to be $65, and that does not include parts. So, really, I mean, the way computers are anymore, I mean, charging that much money, you could almost go out and buy another new computer, so it's ridiculous to assume that you're going to be expected to pay that much money on something that is fairly simple and cheap to fix.
Very true, very true. Ladies and gentlemen, I say this with confidence. This man has fixed my computer quite a few times, very reliable, definitely professional, Global Communications. Now, other than the computers, You also, the main part of the business is two-way radios. Now, what's the difference between just a regular walkie-talkie as opposed to two-way radios? Because that is starting to become a trend in many businesses nowadays. The coverage on a two-way radio is just outrageous. So that's what they basically sell. I need to know more about this. Tell me more about the two-way radios.
Well, there's not a whole lot of difference between a walkie-talkie and a two-way radio. The only differences would be there's actually going to be two differences. One, that a walkie-talkie you can't program, so whatever you buy it as, that's the frequency it's going to be on, meaning that you can't take multiple versions of or manufacturers' radios and make them work with each other. It's just not going to work because of their FCC license. A two-way radio has more power to it, can be programmed to any channel, fire, EMS, police, emergency management. They can all use them. They can all put their frequencies in and be able to talk to one another. So when you have a disaster like up in Woodward this weekend, all emergency management or members can be able to talk to each other in a very efficient and fast manner.
You know, you mentioned Woodward. All of us at Blog Talk Radio would like to extend our condolences to the families and friends and in Woodward for their losses, which leads me into the next question, which is very important. You guys also do storm sirens as well.
Yes, we do.
Now, if you go to the website, you can see an actual footage. And I tell you, that footage was just outstanding. I mean, the person that shot that, I mean, must have an eye for direction, kind of a Martin Scorsese kind of way. If you could explain more about the sirens, because here in Covington, there are two different sirens here. There is the fire alarm, but then there's the other loud one. And I say the loud one because very seldom do I hear it go off, but, man, when I hear it, it's very loud. I mean, the emergency one's loud, but this other one is louder, and it turns out it's from Global Communications. So if you could tell us a little bit more about the storm siren.
Yeah, the storm siren is called an MK2. It's actually a tsunami-rated storm siren, so you're going to hear it. The reason why we got into this is because we have a lot of small communities around here, and with having a lot of small communities, they just don't have the funds or the ability to afford a storm siren. Now, if you actually look at the price of a storm siren, they can get pretty expensive pretty quick. So we can actually get one built, put up, installed for less than it actually costs other clients or other companies just to buy the storm siren. So it's just all the way you do it. We actually build our control blocks. That saves a couple thousand right there. It's accessed by a two-way radio. It can be set off remotely from anywhere. You don't have to get out and go flip a switch. You don't have to run down to your emergency management office or your fire station to set it off. I mean, you can bunker down with everybody else and set that thing off. And they do their job. Flat does the job. And, yeah, the one that we put out in Covington, we're getting ready to put one in Nescatunga jet area. We'll be putting that in probably this week sometime. So it's a very cheap and affordable way for smaller communities to actually get that warning that they desperately need, as we saw this weekend.
You know, it's just a tragedy what happened at Woodward. You know, in mentioning that, I mentioned the two-way radios and the storm sirens. But I'm basically bringing up a lot of emergency-type situations, along with the two-way radios that you guys sell, and the storm sirens, and the computer technician. You guys also work and repair on emergency-type vehicles as far as the lights, the sirens, and all that. And if you could explain just a little bit about that for those in the